Hello, I am Michael Alt, and I will be talking about preserving flowers. We'll be doing a little demonstration on using something you can get from the grocery store, salt. I use flake salt, and we'll be talking about how to salt cure your flowers. I also cure flowers many different ways for my clients. One would be salt curing. That's what we'll be talking about later. I do air drying. I will boil and blanch and brine in salt water. I roast and smoke in different containers. And then I lastly use silica beads, denatured alcohol, and glycerin to preserve flowers so they keep a pliable feel as well as their color and shape. So if we're gonna preserve some flowers with salt, first you need your salt, and then you're gonna need a couple different vessels, some deeper than others, trays. This is a cheap, we bought like, I think 20 of these. I think they were $2 for cat litter, and they work great. And they have an area for pouring out your salt, or you would want something that has like a corner. And then we have some vertical vessels too that you can preserve your flowers in, standing up, so water can run out of the stems. We can do flowers in their entirety, meaning stem, leaves, flower. You can also strip them down. You can also just use heads of flowers or pods, depending on what you want to achieve. So if we're going to do single stem flowers that have multiple heads, what I recommend is first filling your tray with some salt already. And this is a standard kosher flake salt. It's I like the flake instead of like real thick granules because it's a lot lighter and it doesn't crush down the flowers. And so I will just set them in, stems out. I like letting them have kind of a way of breathing. And I usually get the flowers in here and then start sprinkling salt over it. What's nice about salt is I can reuse this over and over again. I'll put this in a tumbler, get the moisture out, lay it on large sheets like that guy, and I can reuse the salt and I don't have to worry about chemicals or anything like that. And I'll just vibrate, shake these out. And when I would be normally doing this, I would put many down so you're not wasting space. You want to have as many flowers as you can get out of each vessel. So once you get these packed in, you don't want to overload them with salt where they just start smashing down and you end up getting this flat pressed flower. You want them encapsulated in the salt. And you can just pull on these guys just so when they do cure in this, they're in the same shape as they were when they were fresh. So then eventually when you get where you want to be, you just completely submerge these until the salt is completely covering these. I usually let these stay in salt for anywhere from 2 weeks to a month and a half, depending on, again, something that would be a flower that would have a lot of moisture, aloe leaves, different cacti, I don't just preserve flowers, I preserve any kind of botanical matter compared to something that would be something that already dries very comfortably, like a status or a solidago. The best place to store your flowers when you're curing or drying them would be like a closet or a basement. As long as there's not a lot of moisture in there, you can shield it from sun, and you really don't want air getting on your flowers. And when I say air, I also mean wind. You don't want a strong like fan or a vent blowing on them. One, because it starts drying them too quickly, as well as it also starts breaking down the flower itself. If you have a chance to have like a tank or a drum or even like a big garbage can with a lid, something for sealing them, that would be a perfect thing to have. Before you preserve your flowers, there's a couple of fun things you can do with them. One, you can change the color, and two, you can change the shape. Changing the color, you can dye them ahead of a time, or you can dye them while they're in process of drying. One of the ways is taking dye with water, either using anywhere from beet juice, natural dyes, different elements, crushed stone, or just you can go to the store and buy some dye. You would mix that with water and let the flower drink the water, and that ends up dyeing the flower petals. When you want to change the shape of a flower, if you don't want this shape, if you want something that's non-organic, you can do that during the process of preserving these flowers. One of the ways is using a wire, and you're going to just wrap your flower Ooh. And once you have the amount of space you want to be able to manipulate, you can start bending the stem. And when you pack this in salt, or if you have this in a tray of silica or just air drying, once this is done, you can unwrap it and it will keep that shape. So if you want to create a ring or have an irregular shape in a stem, you'll have to find an object that you can use as a form, and you'll need some clips. So you can wrap your piece and clip it, or find something, a shape that you want to contour. This is an example where if you wanted to use these ribs, you could put weights down, pressing the stem in each one of these ribs, and then putting either a weight or something, and then letting it dry that way. So then when your piece is dried, it'll have a very non-organic shape to it. After you make your flower arrangement and have all your preserved flowers set the way you want them to be, you do have to keep them away from like a strong light, so don't put them right in a window. They will get sun bleached unless you want them to lose their color, then you can do that. Another thing you'd want to watch out for is keeping them by a vent or by a door that has a draft, or by a fan. That will just start deteriorating the actual form of the flower and break it down, so it would start crumbling. And two would be keeping it away from anywhere like a stove or something that would create humidity in a bathroom. because it'll start molding and it'll start breaking down the flower. If you want to know more about preserving flowers in detail, you can go on my website or you can go on Instagram and follow me to learn a little bit more. I hope you have a fun day preserving flowers.